My job is to operate a department that this year will do about $125 million in revenue. We have 275 employees. We provide 29 sports, competitive sports that are comprised of 825 student athletes, and our job is to provide them with all of the coaching, facilities, strength and conditioning, medical and training support, academic support, all of the things that are required to keep those 29 teams moving in a positive direction and competing for championships. We have billions of dollars worth of stadiums and arenas and field houses and pools and tracks and golf courses, and all of those facilities are my team's responsibility for keeping them available and well-maintained and operationalized for both practices as well as competitions. It's a great job. When I decided to leave my previous job of running this little pizza company and come over to Michigan Athletics, one of the things that was an opportunity was the fact that we really did not have the kinds of planning processes in place that I'm comfortable with. I'm a big believer that if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So one of the things I did in my first 18 months, once I kind of got my team assembled and felt like we were in a good position to do so, is we created a strategic plan for Michigan Athletics, and I don't have nearly enough time to walk you through that today. But we came up with a mission statement, and our mission statement pretty clear defines who we are and what we're about, and we think that's important. Michigan Athletics, we're relentlessly striving to be the leaders and best in everything that we do. Leaders and best is a phrase borrowed from our fight song, but we want it to be more than the lyrics to a song. We want it to be an aspiration that we have for every one of our 29 sports and everything that we do in support of those student athletes. A byproduct of that mission statement was for us to spend a lot of time as a department thinking about the guiding principles, the work rules, the things that are most important that we've identified that we want to make sure we embrace, we being every team member at Michigan Athletics. And I thought I'd walk you through them really quickly and highlight a couple, and then we'll open up for questions. Guiding principle number one is we demand integrity. Demand being the operative word, and integrity being critically important because you're seeing in the world of collegiate athletics today what happens if you don't embrace that specific principle. I know in my years of running public companies, and I lived through the Enron era and all of the collateral damage that was created when corporate America got greedy and lost its way. One of the things that the SEC learned as they went back and did diagnostics on how corporate America lost its way, at least many of these large companies, they defined that the most significant issue in all of the companies that were guilty of wrongdoing was what they described as tone at the top. Tone at the top means leaders have to lead, and leaders have to set a tone that says, here's what we're gonna make important. And in my world, what I have to make sure I'm making important is the whole concept of integrity. Because one of the things we do at Michigan Athletics is we build a brand. And brands can either build in a positive way or they can be contaminated with negative things. And you're seeing how brands in college football particularly, but college sports more generally, have been contaminated over the last several years by getting themselves into trouble because they forget about that integrity word. And whether you follow what happened at USC or Oregon or certainly the Ohio State issue, Miami, we had our problem 2 or 3 years ago. Those negative circumstances where we're talking about our institutions being connected with wrongdoing, allegations, investigations, rule violations, those are the kind of things that can get you in trouble and become a lasting memory for a vast number of people who follow these high-profile sports. So we demand integrity as guiding principle number one. Number two is we create positive academic and athletic experiences for our student athletes and prepare them to be successful in life. Because one of the things that I think college sports has not done a great job of is preparing these student athletes for life after athletics. They are so immersed in the day-to-day fervor of being a student athlete, the recognition, the adulation that they receive, that in many instances they're going to class, they're graduating, but when that last competition is over and for the first time in their life they realize that there has to be life after athletics, what are we doing as an institution to prepare them for whatever's next? How do they take all that competitiveness and all that intensity and all of that goal orientation and translate it into something that's going to allow them to make a big difference in society, be great moms, be great dads, support their families, and add benefit to their community. That's something that we're working really hard to get better and better at. Guiding principle number 3 is we work hard to win championships. We're in a business where winning is really important. Really important. When we're winning, you come to see us play. When we're losing, you find other things to do. And that affects sponsorships, it affects licensing revenues, it affects ticket sales, it affects television ratings, it affects virtually every revenue stream that feeds this not-for-profit department that I'm responsible for that needs resources like you can't believe to make all this happen. And my department's no different than anybody else's, so everybody's under a tremendous pressure to win. And we have to continually emphasize we want to graduate student athletes, we want to do it the right way, we want to maintain integrity, but tell you what, we got to win. We got to win. If we're going to be leaders and best, we got to win. Another guiding principle is to be a great place to work. You know, one of my proudest accomplishments during my 20 years at Velasas is the last 3 years I was there, we were named one of the 100 best companies to work for in America. And I always thought, what a cool thing. Forget the financial success, forget the growth. If we're a great place to work and our people want to stand up and talk about how we're a great place to work, that in and of itself is probably as powerful as anything you can accomplish. And we did it there, and I want to do it at Michigan Athletics because I know how powerful that can be. Another one of our guiding principles is to remain financially self-supporting. Many people have the misconception that these athletic programs are subsidized or that somehow we receive revenues from outside sources, and many of them do. Ours does not. We have a tradition at Michigan of being completely self-supporting. In fact, we give a couple of $1 million a year up to Central Campus to support a scholarship fund. Everything we spend and everything we borrow, we have to back up with our revenue streams and with what we generate in terms of revenues. We don't get any state funding, we don't get any subsidies from the university, we don't access the general fund. We have to make it all work. And that's why when sometimes I sound like a business guy who's trying to generate a top line growth and manage costs and generate surpluses, it's because I got to be a business guy. I'm running a $125 million business that needs to support itself. And when you put $226 million investment into Michigan Stadium, or $97 million investment into Chrysler Arena, or $14 million investment into Yost, or $20 million investment in those scoreboards that hopefully a few of you have seen, if not, just drive anywhere in Ann Arbor and they're sticking up in the sky. Those are all resources I have to generate and make happen. The next thing we want to do is we want to create wow experiences for our fans, for our student athletes, and for our department team members. And how many of you happened to go by that night game that we had? Any of you? Few of you? Hopefully you felt like there were a few wows going on there. We want to make those occasions that you come and visit our campus, we want to make those special. And if we got to fly some people in if we got to float some people in on parachutes with cameras on their heads, if we got to put up $20 million scoreboards, if we need to activate those scoreboards with things that are going to get you charged up, if we're going to give out 100,000 pom-poms at one football game, we're going to do the things we need to do to get you excited, keep you excited, and have you driving home from that event talking about what a wow it was. We want to do the same thing for our department team members, and one of the things you need to know is we build that Notre Dame game as the first night game in the 132-year history of Michigan Stadium, and that was a little bit of a mistruth. Because 2 days earlier, we turned on those lights and we had a touch football game from our department. And we put them in jerseys, we put them in the home locker room, everybody had a locker with their name on it, they showed up, they had their jersey, we went out, we chose teams, we lit up the scoreboards. We had the Glee Club sing the Star Spangled Banner. It was pouring rain. It kind of turned into a wet t-shirt contest, actually. But at the end of it all, our department got a wow. There was this unbelievable opportunity to run around on that field with those lights and those scoreboards going and feel what it feels like to be a member of the Michigan football team. And it was a wonderful thing, and that's how you create wows. Those are the kind of things you do and that you think about. We respect our traditions while also believing that change is good. And that's a tough one, because traditions can be an incredibly powerful thing, and they can also be a very limiting thing. And one of my jobs, and I ran through that tunnel, and I touched that banner, and I played for 4 years at Michigan, and I have 3 Big Ten championship rings, and I covet the traditions that go along with that, but change is also out there happening. So when I announced the first night game in 132 years, there were people who told me I was nuts and I was diverting away from the tradition that is great about Michigan. When I told our staff I wanted to purchase 100,000 pom-poms, they thought I had lost my mind. When we decided to put our team in legacy jerseys for the first time and put them in uniforms that were different than our standard traditional uniform, I had people telling me I was crazy. When I put lights up in Michigan Stadium for the first time, we've never had permanent lights, I had people telling me that I was crazy. The reality is that we have this careful balancing act of embracing our traditions, believing in them and seeing how important they are, but at the same time, recognizing that change is good, and some change and some element of change is necessary in today's world if you're going to be successful. The last guiding principle that we have, and I'll read it to you directly as it's stated, we will always remember what he taught us: the team, the team, the team. And our rule at Michigan Athletics is if you don't know who he is, you don't deserve to work there. Because he is Coach Bo Schembechler, and one of the values that he instilled in us as football players and in us as a department and in us as Michigan is it's all about the team. Nobody ever accomplishes anything by themselves. And we work together as a team, and we believe in one another as a team, and that's how we think of ourselves as Michigan. And one of the reasons I'm so thrilled to have Brady Hoke leading our football program and the things that you're seeing happening as we get better and prepare to get better and be more competitive than we've been in the last few years is because Brady Hoke embraces that as well or more than anybody I know on this earth. He understands team concept, he understands what Michigan is all about and how we believe in the team, the team, the team. And there's a lot of power in that, as evidenced by the fact that we're the winningest football program in the history of college football. We fill up our stadium with the most people every Saturday, year after year after year. And we've been at this for 132 years, and we continue to set records. The Notre Dame night game, we had 114,800 people, the largest crowd in the history of college football. The television crowd that ESPN experienced is one of the top 5 regular season games in their history. We're back. We're back on the big stage where we want to be, and that's something that pleases me greatly. I hope for those of you who are Wolverine fans, it pleases you as well. And for those of you who are Spartan fans, I can't help you.